Welcome, my puppies. This is Room for Rant, and this is a lovely, chilly morning in Berkeley. I have the honor this morning to chat with a gentleman that you may or may not know, Dr. Gerald Higginbotham. He is the Prime Minister for the descendants of American slaves. He is a very fascinating man, I am learning, and hopefully you'll learn this morning as well. Welcome, Dr. G.
Thank you. I apologize for having on I'm also a captain for American Airlines. I fly the Boeing 737 jet, and I've got a meeting with American Airlines. Today is a historical day. I have a meeting with them after our meeting. So as soon as I get off the line here, I'm headed up to Los Angeles here to the chief pilot office because they want to talk about the racial issues that we're having in the country right now, and today it's historical.
Wow.
For me personally.
How did they approach you with that?
Well, you know, I've just returned back to Los Angeles after 30 years ago. And chief pilot, I told him I'm back home to finish my assignment that I started 55 years ago today.
Wow.
And just so happens.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. Just so happens there's a lot of racial unrest in the country right now. And American Airlines is quite concerned because it's affecting their bottom line.
Well,
and
sure.
So they're bringing all the people of color in today. The chief pilots are. They sent out emails and they want me there. And so I want to be there because today is going to be very historic. It's a historical day today for American Airlines and for America. We're going to see the change that's so desperately needed, the beginning of it. And so I'm excited about what we're about to do. And I'm going to share with them what I've been doing for the last 55 years.
Do you think so you believe that it is genuine on their part? It's not just the bottom line. They actually do want to make changes.
It is genuine because of the president of American Airlines. He was riding on another carrier recently here. And the flight attendant from this other carrier, Southwest Airline, she saw him reading a book called White Fragility.
White Fragility, yes, Robin DiAngelo.
Yes, he was reading a book in first class, or he was reading a book on the airline. Yeah. And she asked him about, she asked him about the book. And he said to her, she said, with all the stuff going on in America, I just don't understand. She was a young flight attendant, and just so happens her mother works for American.
Huh.
And as they were getting off the airplane, the president of American Airlines said, "It is our fault," meaning white folks.
I got that. Yeah.
It is our fault.
All right.
And I saw that run on television down here on the local news channel. And so I saw an avenue. So I made a video just like I did with you and sent to him. And so American has been very quiet about anything, about the Black Lives Matter. They've been just quiet and just listening. And so
listening is leadership.
Yes. Not just speaking, but listening.
Listening is leadership.
Because they've been part of if you're not part of the solution, you are the problem. And so they've been listening, and they're having this meeting today. The chief pilots call the meeting. And so I kept seeing emails come into my inbox, company inbox. And when I read and saw the words in there about where we are, where do we need to go, and how do we manage to change to take us there? Yeah. Those were my words. You know, Winston Churchill said, there come an hour when every leader have the opportunity to lead. And yes. This is my hour. 55 years ago, last night, I got a wake-up call. Yeah. August 11th, 1965. I was a witness to the Watts riot. Literally, it was in my backyard.
Yeah.
And at 7 years old, that's a very impressionable age.
Yes.
You begin to ask questions. Why? And it was today after the Watts riot, August 12th, I asked the question, why is it like this? Why is our community burning down? Why there's so much tension in our community? And see, the thing about the word why, that is probably the most important word. The most important word. Because when you put that out in the universe, it may not give you an answer right then and there. But that word is out there spinning now, looking for an answer to bring back to you. And you might be washing dishes one day and the light bulb go off. Oh, that is why. And so I understand the problem in America, but more importantly, how we fix it.
Yeah.
See, we're still dealing with the after effect of American slavery. It has never been put to bed.
It's not an after effect.
Well, no, let me finish.
Okay.
The symptoms that you were seeing is they're after effect of American slavery. The social unrest in our community, the burning down of community, those are after effect of the cause in America. And it has never been properly put to bed. And we're going to put it to bed on our watch.
It's never been properly addressed, let alone put to bed.
Well, no, I said we're going to put it to bed on our watch.
Yeah.
No, it has never been addressed. And we can talk about that because I specialize in American slave history.
Yeah.
I specialize in constitutional law.
Yeah.
I specialize in leadership, business development. I understand our community. This is your captain speaking. And see, we can remove our community from poverty, ignorance, dependency, and complacency to knowledge, wealth, and power. Yeah. We're going to address the cause because, see, I'm going here. This is your captain. And since I'm meeting with American Airlines today and I have my uniform on, I really don't care. I'm going to use my platform. I move people from A to B in the jet. And this is the same process. Our people, our culture has not been properly identified. We've been called slaves, colored, Negro, Black, now African American, now back to Black.
Yep.
And so all those are nicknames that come out of the surname slave. Slave is our legal culture name here in America. Yes. If you look at the 14th Amendment, you'll see in Section 4 there the name slave.
Yes.
See, America bred slaves in this country. She created a whole new culture, and she's been a deadbeat parent to her firstborn and to her descendants. And so now it's time to fix it. See, there's a book here that my colleague wrote, Dr. Nora Shelton, called COVID-19, Windfall, American Slaves' Birthright. See, slavery was the foundation of this nation.
Well, so
I'm sorry.
Let's get into you're getting into the purpose of your organization, which we will get to, but let's
pull the throttle
back to you a little bit. So you're a doctor of what? What do you have your PhD in?
I have 2 doctor's degrees in biblical science, biblical studies, and divinity. I look at everything from God's perspective because he owns the earth, the fullness thereof, and all that dwells therein. So when you begin to think like him, you speak like him and act like him. So it's in divinity and biblical studies.
Okay. And you're an airline pilot.
I am. I'm living the dream.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a pilot ever since I was 10 years of age.
So you went to college and studied philosophy, basically.
No.
Well, religion and...
No.
No.
I went to college and studied psychology because I wanted to understand how people think. I wanted to understand how the mind works.
Right.
Because see, our issue is it's a mind issue.
Well, it's more than that. I believe it is psychological. But
that's part of the mind. That's part of the mind.
I understand, but it is also more than that. It is evolution. It is evolutionary. And because in this country,
let's talk about that.
White folk basically consider themselves supreme. I have an issue with the word supremacy or white supremacy.
But we can deal with that because you're talking to the right person.
I'll get to it. but because basically white folk have had their knee on the necks of black folk since 1619.
That's true. All true.
Our culture, our cultures, not culture. It's not black culture. It's not one culture.
There's no
We
such
got
thing.
all kinds of black people in this country. And I'm talking about descendants of slaves. All kinds of black people.
We got to add one word in there.
What's
Descendants of
American slaves.
slaves.
Yes, no, agreed. Sorry about that. The descendants of American slaves are vast and varied.
I agree.
And all of them, all of those cultures, those little mini cultures within the black culture of the United States have been oppressed to the point where culturally we have not been allowed to evolve. That's I believe is the most egregious part of the oppression, that as people we have not been allowed to culturally evolve, right?
And it's because of one thing, it has been our thinking. See, our thought life controls our life. It says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. What you think, you will speak, and what you speak, you'll act on, and it produces a result. And what the slave master and the slave breeders did, they bred. As soon as that baby, after he put his sperm into that, these folks that they brought, these captured folks that came from Africa, because they weren't slaves, they were captured folks.
Yes, yes.
They were illegally brought here, and so they came here by force and not by choice. That makes them non-immigrants. You got to get that.
Yeah, no,
there's immigrants, and then there's non-immigrants.
Yes.
And what he did by force, he put his sperm into that African female, and it created a new culture. As soon as that baby popped out 9 months later, they snatched that baby.
Yep.
And bred that baby to be ignorant of who he was, his culture.
Well, but that's the requirement of being white.
But here's what we got to do. We got to understand why. We're back to the question.
But please explain for our neighbors why.
Here's the reason why. America needed slaves to build this nation that we're in. It was about building the nation. Indians were not going to do it. and so they had to go find another group of folks to do it.
Indians felt they had already built their nation.
That's true. That's true.
They did not need to build a nation.
That's true. They had a family here, and they had a language, but they went far away. And here's where I'm going with Africa, because they had a part to play in this. They played around with the slavery. They did, but it wasn't the slavery that we think was happening here in America. They played with as servitude slavery, where you got captured and then you became part of
America,
that.
American slavery
totally
is
different
from.
I agree.
Most slavery,
it is
because it is cattle.
That's
even
correct.
The slave, they tell us, well, Africans enslaved Africans. Yes, they did. And you know why? Because those Africans are not this monolithic block of people. True. They were hundreds of different tribes.
That's right.
Those tribes warred, and prisoners of war became slaves.
Right. That's correct. And however, they let them go.
Could gain their freedom.
That's correct. And so we practice it our ancestors practiced it over there. Yeah. But when the white colonizers, I'm talking about the Europeans, came there, they saw opportunity. They had a different mindset.
Because of evolution. That is actually, it's a very natural stage of evolution. True. Where white folk were.
Right. And they were a superior culture. They had guns.
They had guns.
They had guns. They had weapons.
And they had disease.
That's all of the above. We're in agreement. All of the above. However, let's bring it home. Let's bring it home. In order to fix this mess, it's going to require white folks also to be involved in the process. And so what we have to do we have to do, we have to allow them to be a part of the process. Because see, right now we have shifted from an industrial-based society to the information age. So it's a new paradigm that we're in. What worked in the old system in the industrial age is not going to work in this new system.
Yes.
And what we have to begin to do, we're going to have to be willing to learn, unlearn, and relearn. By the way, that is the definition of the illiterate of the 21st century. It's not going to be the person who know how to read or write. It'll be the person that do not know how to learn, unlearn, and relearn. And so one of the things that we have to do, we're going to have to look at things differently. We're going to have to be able to come to know who we are. See, I'm American. I'm a descendant of American slaves. My ancestors built this country, this great nation that we're living in. It was built off their back. Slavery was the economic engine. It was the cornerstone to the American society. It made many millionaires. Across in America and across over in Great Britain. Our group have not asked the right question. There's 7 questions that you got to get answered. It took me 36 years to get answered. I'll give them to you if you want to hear
them. We will get to that.
You got to hurry up because the captain is rolling.
Well, this doesn't have to be the only interview, sir.
Oh, beautiful.
Seriously,
that's what I wanted to hear from you.
A series of you, if you like.
I would like that because, Lynn, our people. It is our turn and it's our time.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at everything from God's perspective because he said in Mark 10:31, the last shall be first. Not might, not maybe, shall be. And see, the last culture that has been bred or has been introduced to his human family is the American slave culture. We have to get that revelation. And see, our ancestors prayed, they got beat. They lived in, they learned how to not kill in order for us to live. And so I have learned how to not kill in order for me to live and for the next generation. But at the same time, being the pilot, being the captain, I have a different mindset. I ask the tough questions and search for the answers. See, I've spoken at the House of Lords of London. I've been to the United Nations. I've been all the way to Liverpool. I went back to the beginning to understand how did we get in the present predicament that we be in today. Because see, not understanding and knowing that question, a lesson not learned, it is soon repeated until you learn it. And our group have not learned that. But we now know how we got to where we are. We now have the tools to begin to move us to where we need to be. We've been off course. And I know as a commercial airline captain, 1/10 of a degree off course, you're not going to arrive at your destination. It ain't happening. As a matter of fact, our group have not even defined the destination. Our group don't even know what we want. But here's good news. All there needs to be is one of us that know what we want. And then have a heart of a servant that's willing to do God's will. He said, 1 to put 1,000 in flight, 2 put 10,000. And when you understand this process and then turn around, be fruitful, and then multiply, turn around, teach to others, it's on and popping like a bag of popcorn. We can begin to see the change that we need. And we're going to see it on our watch. And so my meeting today with American Airlines, they really want change. And since I'm one of theirs,
they're going to you first.
I'm going to them.
Yeah. I think that's tremendous.
We have to.
That is occurring. I do have a question.
I may have an answer.
You just may. Under the umbrella of the descendants of American slaves, who all is included in that?
I'm so glad you asked. Yes, a great question. Those who see themselves as descendants of American slaves. Technically, if you really want to go there, everybody in America is a slave that has been tied to the federal government, if you want to go there. Because right now, what they just did, we're right now in the midst of the biggest economic wealth transformation in the recorded history of our world. Yep. This COVID-19,
this is the shock doctrine at its finest.
Hey, at its finest. And see, we can compare COVID-19 to slavery. They're 2 man-made programs. Both has been designed to take from this group and to give to another.
Well,
expecting the help.
think that COVID-19,
Let
the
me finish.
term itself, was designed. I think that
Well,
that is a natural occurring thing. I do
well,
believe that an opportunity has been taken advantage of.
I agree with you. However, but man-made, playing around, he has released a virus, which is like a demon.
Well,
He
then,
has released a
then
virus that can go
you're
inside
saying
you.
that humans are responsible for all of our viruses in that case.
You're not gonna. Hey, you're preaching to the
Exactly.
choir. But what I'm saying,
But I just want to make sure we're not propagating a conspiracy theory.
no, I don't want to do that. That's not what I'm saying. What I want us to look at, because I'm going somewhere with this. I think differently from most people.
I just need you to
And if you got the COVID virus,
just
if
be
you got
clear.
the COVID book, really, I said I see them as parallels. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to upgrade our culture and make it whole. Because see, as an American slave, as a descendant of American slave, I pay taxes. And they're giving my tax dollars of COVID to other big institutions to keep them afloat.
Yep.
Well, we should be able to get some of that COVID dollar to begin to heal the American slave culture. If America's willing to really want to be healthy, it has to be also heal the foundation, because we got a crack in the foundation of America, the slave foundation crack. We are the crack. We have to be made whole. And so we need some of our COVID tax dollars to heal the American slave culture. That's all I'm saying. I look at these two as they're money making, both man-made. Somebody introduced it. But also, too, I see where the dollars are going. Willie Lynch introduced slavery, the process of how they can be able to make more dollars. And
Willie Lynch introduced the economic impetus for slavery.
I agree. Yeah, that's exactly. I'm
He
glad
did not introduce slavery.
Let me change that. He did not introduce slavery. He introduced the process how to get the most out of your slaves for 300 to 400 years.
Yes.
Can we agree there?
Yes.
And and so what happened, it's a process. And so they took from our culture, continue to take, because we've had a leadership problem in our group. Everything rises and falls on leadership, not some things, everything. And so we've had a lot of positional leaders and not any leading leaders. We have not had a real leader, leading leader since the night Dr. King was assassinated, April 4th, 1968, because he was leading the American slave, well, they were calling us Negroes back then, but they're really the American slave culture into the economic battlefield. That's where he told us the next fight for us would be out the economic battlefield. And we have not went there yet until now.
Well, we haven't gone there yet.
We're there now. We're on the parameters of the economic battlefield. We're going there. We're ready to go there now. That's all I'm saying. We are now in position to take the field. And
we are, but sadly, we're a little late to the game again.
Well, but here's the thing.
Because I'll tell you why. Because much of that economic force is rooted and based in exploitation. American capitalism, Western culture capitalism is all about exploitation. That's what slavery was all about. It was about the exploiting of human beings, right? And modern capitalism is about exploiting everything. And that is, which is an evolutionary stage that hopefully we can get to the next stage before we actually kill ourselves and make ourselves extinct, which we are on the brink of. So yes, I contend that it is now our time to step into the economic forces that be. But it is also, if we are to honor our ancestors and who honored the earth, we have to do it in such a responsible manner as to start to heal not only ourselves, but the planet.
I agree. And we will do that. With us shifting from this industrial-based society to the information age, it's a whole new different ballgame.
Well, not necessarily, because in order to drive that technology, we have to rape the earth for rare minerals. Your phone, my laptop, whatever, it's got rare minerals that we get from Africa, right? And we're still exploiting. So no, we have to change it. We have to find a different way to do it.
I'm going to agree with what you're saying so that we can keep moving forward. But we're a new knowledge-based economy. That's a whole different ball game. And we're not even at
that we don't even understand.
That's the reason why I wrote a book called Collaboration, Teamwork, and Networking, a case study for systematically working together to achieve successful living. I've been working on this thing for 30 years, the new system. And so we have it. But before we can create a new civilization, we have to fix the foundation. Because the foundation determines what you can put on it, how long it will last, and how high. And so we have a crack in the foundation, and this is the mortar. This is the tool. America's little black book is the mortar to seal and fix the crack. See, I first got to get knowledge in us. Because see, once we have this piece and get on one accord, we're going to be, it's over but the shouting. So we have this. I'm not promoting that other piece. This is the piece that I'm promoting. And the Renaissance plans. These are the tools that will bring about the change that we so desperately need, that I will be introducing to American Airlines today. Because they asked, how can we heal American? The first place is we have to heal the mind. You know, when I got discriminated against at American Airlines, and that's a whole nother story, it wasn't American that discriminated against me. American is a corporation. It's a shell. It's people that make the corporation go. It was a people issue. We're back to the mindset. We have to deal with the core root of that. And the way we do it is through education. We're going to have to learn, unlearn, and relearn. This is what everybody should be reading, America's little black book. I'm going to ask American Airlines to buy this book here. We have over 100,000 employees. Every one of us to read this book. It's time for us to get the right information. We've been duped, hoodwinked, and then bamboozled. And then we're going to introduce the Renaissance plan. These tools here that will address the core issue that we've been facing in America. Anyway, I'm out of time.
You got to go, sweetie. You've got to go make history.
Yes, ma'am. And I want to say to you, Lynn, I love you. Thank you for allowing me to rant in your room.
Give my pleasure. That is why we call it Room for Rant. Just quickly on a personal level, I'm trying to figure out how I know you. What elementary school did you go to?
I went to Woodworth Elementary.
Damn it.
I also went to Faith Lutheran.
No, this is down in Southern California. Do you ever live in Altadena?
No. Now they say we all look alike.
It's not your face, it's your name. And for some reason, I know you. Anyway, or maybe it was a past life. Who knows?
Hey, you
Gerald,
know what?
thank you so much.
Let me share this with you before I go. Like-minded spirits know each other.
Yeah.
We have that aura about us that we connected, because that's how I found you. It was your words. It was your words. You let your light shine. And that light inside me said, this is a person to connect with. This is good people. She's great people to be able to form a relationship with. We've got work to do.
Oh man, so much work.
It takes teamwork to make the dream work. But guess what happens? Anytime we get in the game, we take the game to a whole nother level. We're in the game. We're in the game now. And here's what we have to be willing to do. We have to be willing to listen to each other.
Yes.
Learn from each other.
Yes.
Make a commitment to each other, a lifelong commitment that we are in it to win it.
We're in it to win it.
And
let me let you go. Let us make this the first of a series of interviews with Dr. Gerald Higginbotham.
Please, I
And
like
so that we can get the full message out there. We can have, and maybe we can chat a little bit longer next time. We can have a fuller discussion and really start diving into things, and you know, get
I
some good
really would
information
like
out there
that.
to the folk.
I really would like that because we want to be a blessing to the people.
Yes.
I'm going to say this and then I'm gone.
Okay.
Life is choice driven. The quality of life that you live in this earth realm is based on the quality decisions that you make. But if you have not had the right information, you cannot make the right choices. You wind up making decisions based upon limited data, and generally it's to your detriment.
And
life is choice driven. But us coming together, getting on one accord, we will provide the information so that your audience and whoever listened to this, it will begin to add value to their life. I want to just
begin to ask that question, why?
visit the website www.slaves-usa.com. www.slaves with the S on slave-usa.com. A lot of information out
Is
there.
this a nonprofit organization or a for-profit?
Nonprofit.
It's nonprofit. Is there a place that people can donate on the website?
There's a place where they can donate on the website.
Beautiful.
Join the movement. Become a part of it. It's going to change your life forever. Fasten your seatbelt. We've been cleared for takeoff. This is your captain speaking.
All right. Gerald, thank you very much.
Love you, Lynn. Thanks for having me.
Nice one. Good luck today.
Thanks.
Well, that was a beautiful thing. We're going to have more with Gerald, and we're going to have more with Room4Rant, more interviews with different people to come. Thanks for joining me, and we'll talk soon, kids.